All right, well, hello and welcome to another daily edition of Stock Market Mutterings trade review and recap for November 5th. Hope you guys had a great weekend and a great trading day. As always, if you need help, feel free to reach out to thelincolnlist.com. Click on the trade room tab and you can start trading with us right away. Now, what I'm going to start out by saying today, my friends, and it pains me so deeply inside of this heart to say what I'm about to say. And it takes a man in today's world, a tough man, to admit it. I was wrong. I was wrong yet again. I'll tell you what, I only had 3 losing days all of last month. 2 in the month of September. Now we are 3 trading sessions into this month. I've had 2. 2 out of the 3 have been red. Another red day, not big, of course, but I tell you what, I'm doing more sabotaging right now. I'm doing, maybe not sabotaging. We'll talk about it. You figure out what it is, because we all go through it. And again, that's why I'm sharing this. I mean, I'll get going here soon enough, but it's a little bumpy start from Mr. Lincoln right here. Little bumpy start. And like I said, it sucks to have to say that, but this is what us traders go through. We get cold sometimes. Maybe I should put that parka on and warm myself up. So here's what I'm doing, and here's what is not working, which I will not be doing tomorrow, even if it starts to work, because I gotta lay off of this. I've been saying that I've been just shortened into this strength, and I've had this uncanny ability for the last couple days to pick the single strongest stock in the market. Minus earnings related or penny stocks or that stuff. Let's just say bigger board stocks. We talked about Win the other day, and I was saying, hey, this Win, I know it's garbage, blah, blah, blah. I went through this whole story about it, and I was like, but it was its day. It was its moment in the sun, and I picked this day to short that stock, and, it took off. And I was guilty of looking at it and not believing my eyes for a moment, somewhat, to a small extent, saying, it's Win, it's garbage, it's going to come down. And it is now, but I'm long gone out of that trade. Now, Friday was a pretty good trading session, but I started out today with the same thing on IBM. IBM is like a replica of what you're seeing in Win. It's beat down chart, this dusted thing, shortened strength into these. Now, there was a couple of other stocks like that on my list too. They all eventually rolled over on the first market pool. Not this one. This thing just flagged, stair-stepped all the way up the ladder. Again, one side of this is that it's interesting here. I mean, sometimes it's the Murphy's Law trading, right? I'm just picking the very best one not to short. Does that even make sense? The best one not to short, or the worst one too short? I'm doing pretty good at that right now. So kind of in this little streak. But here's what's more important about this. I said I was going to continue to do this until it stopped working. I feel that what we are in now, unless this, maybe this is probably not going to change until after the election tomorrow. If there's any impact that the election results may have on this market, I'm not sure how it's going to react to what happens. We're going to find out probably on Wednesday. But the reason I was really going back into this is because none of these rips were holding. None. It was almost impossible to find it. Now the volatility seems to be coming out. And what I mean by that is these stocks are holding up pretty well. So like, for example, you start out with Facebook selling off down here, but maybe 2 weeks ago or something like that, this thing would have just kept on going down $10. Netflix would have gone down 30 or something. You had these enormous amount of panic and washouts in the market. You don't have that. And when you don't have that, that seems to be the only way shorts are really working. Now, you can go all the way back to maybe 15, 16 to where that started, is that the market started to lose that volatility and just shorting anything in general became a really difficult thing to do. Yes, you could make money at it, but the risk to reward and the way that it worked changed. And it started really working good again there, late August, September, October. We were doing very good with these. And it just got to this point now. This is the second one in a 3-day period of time that just caused me some trouble. Now, it didn't cause me as much trouble, nowhere near as much as Win. It didn't go up that much. But here's where the problem lies. It is not being patient. We always talk idea execution management. You first come up with the idea as to whether or not maybe something is a long and a short. The second part becomes I need to execute this at the best possible price. Then I need to manage. In both Wynn's case and IBM's case, I did not get the right execution. Now, my idea, my thinking was right. Even if you lose, it's okay sometimes if you say, look, I would have done it again. But the execution on it was that I got both of these too early in the day when I began my initial short well, like what I'm trying to say is I started too early before I had enough trading data, okay? And I didn't let the market play its cards first. So I kind of just jump into it just because I think, use air quotes, I think it's going to go down. And then what's happening is these squeezes. Now, one thing you know, like I said with Wynn, you can say it's a piece of crap, it's garbage, it's going to end up going down. You can say that all you want, but you cannot, on the other hand, underestimate in this market the power of these bounces. I mean, again, you had Netflix today that just took off and just, you know, rallies here after selling off in the morning, rallies from 304, 305 all the way up to 315. So it makes this $10 bounce. You cannot underestimate the power of the squeeze and this stuff in the rallies. So when you're down there at the bottom on those charts, these things can happen. So I'm a little bit disappointed. Now, once I kind of cleared my head from that, I put together a pretty good day after that. I had, what did I have on that thing? It was just showing. I had a little bit of BA that I picked up here later on. You know, after the market had showed its hand and that it felt like it was going to be strong, you had a pretty good setup here late in the day coming through this range and taking this range from this 855 to, let me just use the price, this 360, just kind of breaking through that 360 and trading back up into the highs. But still, you had some wacky range. You had this big old bar here followed by a deep pull and then a rally. Took a little while. These things have some range, so did pretty good with that. And then late in the day, using somewhat of that with this TTD. Now, if you look at this TTD, you had a really nice, this is like a quadruple bottom, if you guys count those things on a 5-minute chart. You had this touch of 120 here, a retouch of 120, another of 120, and then again of 120. So when I was looking at this here, I was like, this thing is probably going to bounce off of the bottom. We've got 4 bottoms here. I think that's a pretty good floor for this trade. And the market's starting to lift. This thing should come up out of the hole there a little bit. It was down like 7 or 8, and it did. This was a really, really nice trade here. This one worked out really, really well, and we caught it at the right time. So that was good idea. That was great execution. That was great management. And now when I go back at, but you know, the loss, it was enough to make some of this back, but still I netted out a loss there with most of it obviously with IBM. Here's the problem that I'm having. Is that I gotta be patient. I'm guilty here of not waiting for the best ideal setup. I'm also guilty of being a little bit naive by saying it's a piece of shit, it's coming down. I'm breaking some rules here. Obviously, with the position size and all of that, that part of the management is under control. So I'm not grenading myself or putting myself in some irreparable hole that I can't come out of, or long-term damage, or I'm psychologically messed up. It's a bit frustrating. It's a bit frustrating that I did it a second time in 3 days. So here's why I share this with you, because again, I say pros go through this all the time. I know those jack-offs on social media are always going to act like every day is good, right? I'll always have good days. This is a great trading thing. They always take, it's just never mind. I don't need to say it. We go through it too. So here's what first thing I've got to do, because I'm going to walk you through what's going through my mind, because we're all going to go through it. So first thing you got to do is get yourself under control. Got to pull the reins back in, okay? Step number 1 tomorrow is I got to take 5-10 minutes off, unless I see something that's just so damn dynamite. I haven't seen it all month or 6 months or whatever. It's like, oh, this is the best setup I've ever seen in my life. I got to wait. Got to be a little bit more patient here and let these stocks come to me. Because once I did that for the rest of the day, I just started pulling out winners. But, damage was already done right out of the gate. Again, just like, Wynn, except for Wynn was too high in money there. It was higher than I wanted to be. This was small. But still, I got to be a little bit more patient here. I can't underestimate it. I got to wait for the right setup. And I'm probably going to have to tail back a little bit of the size. So we'll see how that plays out tomorrow. We'll see if I follow my rules, which I'm sure I will. But we'll see how it does, and we'll see how it goes. Again, one of the things I do want to just kind of relay over there is this is where you start to see maybe a shift. Again, the election could be a wild card. I don't know how hyped up we're going to get over the midterms. You know, that's not up to me to decide. But the market is showing signs of bullishness. You know, you've had a lot more bullish days, but not just numbers that you're seeing in the market. It's the way the stocks are behaving. So if you, again, you go back and you look at Apple getting sold off, Facebook, you know, NVDA, all these stocks really took a hit. That was the ones that took the hit this morning, were the FANGs, the Q stocks, and those kinds. You know, the SPY was strong for most of the day. The Dow was strong the entire day. You got stocks like Mickey D's here, MCD. This thing's just an animal here on the daily chart. That was holding up the market, and eventually these FANG names caught up. So what I'm saying here is, first of all, these stocks that were really taking a beating, yes, they might still be going down. You know, like, yes, Facebook was red today, NVIDIA red $3. But remember, these stocks a couple of weeks ago were going down 15 to 20 every day. So it looks like they've kind of settled themselves in, at least for now. That could change at any moment, like we saw some selling there on Friday. It really is back and forth, but one of the things I am noticing here is that we are showing a little less volatility and a little more strength across the board. I don't know if that turns into a secondary rally on this. We soon shall see. However, the real lesson in all of this, because I try to make a lesson out of all this stuff every day, and that is, you got to wait for the setup. You know, that's what your process is. Your process is waiting for the setup and the right time to give you the best entry possible. Okay, because to come back and to look at this and just to be straight up honest with everyone, if I would have began my initial short in the 118.5 to the 119s, I probably would have been able to scratch that trade before the day was over. But going in much earlier, as you can see at the very beginning of the day, is just nonsense on a Monday. I mean, that's all there is to it. It's just ridiculous. And you get off on the wrong foot, and then you're always chasing the price. And again, if the silver lining in all of this that I learned, because sometimes I have these bad habits I'll slip back into, this is why I always said position size is the greatest thing. You can act like an idiot, and as long as you have the right kind of position size, starter size, you're trading within the comfort zone of that, you know, you're going to be okay. Even if you're dumb, you'll catch and go, it just stings a little. But again, the most important thing is that it's recoverable. So I can have one good day, and, you know, my month will completely turn around. So it's, you know, even though I'm acting like a total jackass right now, and my trading sucks, and I'm being a buffoon, you know, I'm still almost green for the month. So even acting like a turd, I'm still in there. I'm still in the game, right? So that's what it's all about. That's when you know that you have reached a good level in your trading, is when your crappy days are just frustrating. They're not financially demoralizing. Because I can remember when I'd first done this in my early career, is that, you know, when I had a bad day like this, I was toast. I knew, right, like, I would have known 17, 18 years ago, if I would have started out the month like I did now, I would say I will not make this money back until probably April of next year. Really, that's how I was like, there's no way, I'm not coming back from this. And you know that mentally. So remember that as you're trading. That's why it's not about winning and losing. It's about that money that you have there, is that you have a dollar amount in your head. You know what you're capable of recovering from, and you know what you're not capable of recovering from. And the decisions that we have to make a lot of time is when that negative balance starts coming down there, that trade starts going against you, and you start to think, it's getting to a point where I am not going to be able to recover from it. Then you often say, well, it's too late now, I'm just going to fight it out. And then it gets worse, and then it gets worse, and you say, well, I wish I could go back to that day I said it's getting too late for me to recover from, so I can start all over again, right? I mean, that's how the mind works. So take away this from the lesson today. This is why I share it with you, is that you've got to wait for the right setup. You've got to, patience is one of the trader's greatest attributes. And I have been guilty over the last couple of months. When I look at the two big losses I've taken this month, well, I can't say IBM's is not a big loss, but the two losses I've taken that have been frustrating is Win and IBM. Both of those were carbon copies of each other. I shorted a stock that was already down for several days. I went on the first bump right out of the open and did not give it time to settle in. And I got such poor entries on both of those that it made it very difficult for me to manage that trade. The differences between Win and IBM is just IBM just didn't rip off 10. But, it could have easily done that. So remember that, you got to catch these earlier. If I would have been more patient, then I wouldn't be so frustrated about what happened. So I got to get on the roll, guys. I got to get my mojo back on. Like I said, 2 losing days in September, 3 losing days last month. 2 out of the 3 already. It's like I need to run the table. I need to put together a streak for the rest of this month. So anyway, as always, if you need help, you know where I am located. You have questions, send me an email, support@thelincolnlist.com. I want to thank you for your support of watching these mutterings. If you have hints, tips, suggestions, as I say, also send me an email, support@thelincolnlist.com for that. We'll see how I wash this thing out tomorrow. If I can get my mojo back on and start stringing together some consistency here, because I do not like the way I am. And I am not happy with my performance up to this point. But it will get corrected. I will make sure it gets corrected. So guys, enjoy. Take care. Trade well. Talk to you tomorrow.